Okay, well, NLP is a really fascinating topic, and if we just kind of explore what that means for a few seconds, I mean, neuro is really around how we think and how our thoughts really direct our behaviour and our success. Linguistic is all around what we say and how we use language, which is of course very important when you're talking about brand and brand values. And programming is really around, our belief systems and how we do what we do, and whether that's successful and do we do more of it, or whether it's not and we need to change it. So one of the great summaries that I've heard around NLP is like NLP is like it provides an instruction manual for the brain. So it's really beginning to understand, what's the connection between what you think and the results that you get. And I think if we kind of drill down into how that can impact on key messages, and that's really because NLP is very solution focused. So it's really about having clarity in the beginning about what does your brand really mean, and to have that at different levels for different people in the organisation. Because sometimes, it's all very well and good having a brand value for the senior people in an organisation, but it's about having a brand value that customers really understand and that people at the front line would understand as well. And it's also around once the brand values are out there in the marketplace. It's also about getting feedback and really being willing to do something different if you need to. The principles that I'm going to talk about, you can use for many things actually. And I was thinking you could absolutely use them for brand values as well. So I'm going to talk about 6 principles very, very quickly. The first one is really to be clear in terms of what the brand is all about. And secondly, it's really important for that to be exciting, not only for you to really be motivated to do something with it, but to be exciting for your customers and for the people and staff that work in your organisation. And then of course the third thing is around you need to do something with that. And often in terms of brand, it's really important to take some action and take action in many different ways, so not just through one channel, but think about how you can utilise all the available channels that we have these days in the field of the age of digital media to get that out in the marketplace. Fourth, it's really important to get some feedback, so feedback from staff, feedback from your customers in terms of is that really hitting and getting the results for you that you would want to achieve. And fifthly, if it's not, then being willing to do something different, because often these brands we become very wedded to them. And it's really important, and I've done this in my business over the years, if something's not quite working, then it's really important to be agile enough to be able to change that quite quickly. And finally, one of the things that's really easy that often people forget about, and that is just to go and talk to other people that have already done what you want to do, other people that have already got successful brands in your particular industry, go and talk to them. And I've found in my life that if I go and say to somebody I really admire them, are they willing to share with me some of their secrets or tips for success around how they've grown their brand in their business, then certainly nobody has ever said no. And I've got a lot of useful information that I've been able to utilise from those meetings. One of the things that I talked about earlier was the L in NLP stands for linguistic, and we learn about language and about language patterns through NLP. And one of the ways that I think this can influence brand is around using really positive and directive language. So it's about what's our outcome, how can we use our language to direct people to have a very positive experience. So I'll give you a couple of examples of that. So it's really important to focus on what you want people to do rather than what you don't want them to do. Because if I were to say to you right now, don't think about a blue elephant, then what do you notice is the first thing that comes into your mind? It's a blue elephant. And often if we tell people what we don't want them to do, that's what they go, that's the memory, that's the lasting thought that they have. So first of all, brand values really get people to focus on what it is that you want them to remember. And secondly, we can use language. So for example, in NLP, one very simple tip, we call them mind reads, is to actually use your language in a way that really, again, gets people to feel good about themselves. So just to give you an example, you can say something like, I know you're going to have a very positive experience, through visiting this particular organisation, or it's a really, great thing to be using this particular product. So you kind of assume. It's almost like you step into your customer's mind, and you start assuming some of the things that they might be thinking. And again, it leaves them with a really, really positive message about your brand. And another tip would be, we call them, what do we call them? Let me just think about it. Yeah, tag questions, that's it, tag questions. Is at the end of a sentence, if you say to somebody, you do think this is a good idea, don't you? The don't you is what we call the tag question. And actually, again, it really encourages people to agree with you. So I think in terms of, and that's just a couple of examples, but I think NLP has got loads to offer, certainly in the field of linguistics, and directing your customers to the place that you want them to get to. Well, I do a lot of work in organisations, and I use NLP within organisations as well as working in terms of personal development. And one of the things that's really important, brand values, one of the things that incorporates is culture within an organisation. And to know that your brand is working, it's really vital to get feedback. So in terms of behaviour within an organisation, I guess one of the easiest ways of getting feedback is whether your people are doing what you would want them to do. Are they behaving in a way that you would want them to behave? And making sure that you're getting that feedback is really, really important. No matter how kind of uncomfortable that might be, particularly if you've invested a lot of money in your brand. If people are not actually implementing it, then it's something that you need to do something about. And equally with customers, if you're not getting the impact from customers that you would expect, then it's time to do something different. And again, you need to go out and get feedback from customers to really test whether your brand is working. And I know that sounds quite simple, but in my experience, people are not very good at doing this. And I think it really has to work on a number of levels, not only inside the organisation, but outside as well. And when you've got that data or that information, then of course it's important to change something, take action, and do something different.